Okay, today let's talk about what are the soft skills that are needed to be an effective leader. And before we go into the soft skills, we'll also talk about what does effective leadership even look like. Why do we need to understand this? Because if you are someone who is aspiring to become a leader, or if you are a leader but you want to become more effective in your role because you feel undervalued, unseen, we need to fix that. And it's fixable. It's really fixable, and it has nothing to do with your accent, with your English. As long as you speak English which is understandable, you're good to go. As long as you're brilliant in what you do, you are good to go. For those who do not know me, I'm Dr. Mrinalini Garg. I work with South Asian professionals to help them elevate in their career so that they can step into leadership roles, or if you are already in leadership roles, we help you become effective. How do we do that? We do that by helping you speak up. This is an important aspect of leadership. If you are not speaking up, you are not projecting yourself as a leader. Speaking up is an integral part of leadership, and it has nothing to do with where you come from, your immigration status. It has nothing to do with your race. It has nothing to do with how well you speak English. As long as you speak understandable English, you're good. Now, there are aspects around racism, sexism, all kinds of discrimination. Well, they happen because we are human beings. However, if we can see a single example of someone who has gone to the very top despite their skin color, it means that it's possible. It's just that we will need to understand and really unpack how they became effective leaders. So let's dive in. Now, with South Asians, and I'm from India, so I get it, right? The way we are brought up is with the emphasis on education. We have heard from our parents, education is the ticket to a good life, stability in life, and we know education is important. So we have given a lot of emphasis and have succeeded to gather technical knowledge and also apply it. So we are good in the technical area. And because there has been so much emphasis on technical knowledge, for example, if you are an engineer, whatever you do in your career, when you're using the things that you have learned in engineering school and you're applying to achieve whatever goals you have for that company, whether you are creating a product, whether you are creating a service, you are using your technical knowledge to get there. Because there has been such a heavy emphasis on getting education, getting qualifications, it comes very naturally to us that we go and get more certifications and become even better in our technical knowledge. We spend hours on YouTube, we spend hours on Google to learn more and more about our technical skills, and we continue to up level them. Now, with technical skills, at the beginning of your career and mid career, technical skills are very important because that's how people realize that you are credible. People see that yes, you're totally skilled in what they hired you for. So it's extremely important to have those technical skills, and not just have those technical skills, but be brilliant at it and be able to apply them. After mid career, when you're trying to get to the higher levels, technical skills do not hold as much importance. Now, if we think about IT industry, there are two ways of getting to the next level. You can become a technical leader, that can be that leadership path, and then, of course, the management path. However, don't tell yourself that if you take the technical path, you will not need the soft skills. Doesn't matter what path you are on, you're still going to need soft skills. If you're in academia, if you're in healthcare, technical skills are important, but it's also very important to manage people. Because if we don't learn to manage others, others are going to manage us and impose upon us their criteria, their ideas, their vision. So if you are someone who is trying to get to the higher level, or if you are in that higher position, maybe you are a VP, senior VP, wanting to go to the C suite, you really need to understand how these leadership skills and soft skills play an important part in building those connections and managing those connections. So if you look at the pie chart here, right, I have a little section here that's for technical skills, and this large portion is for leadership skills. So as you go higher in your career, this is how your pie chart should look like. If it's the opposite, and if you're spending more time and effort in improving your technical skills, then you are on the wrong path. You need to really understand, and you know it. I speak with so many people, and they know it, that they need to work on their communication skills, they need to work on their leadership skills. The question is, are you really committed to get to that next level? Because I say in many of my videos, leadership is not for everyone, and it's okay. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with you if you don't want to get to that leadership level. But what I have seen is that a lot of people desire to go to that leadership level. However, because they are not great at soft skills, they they actually talk themselves out of getting to that next level, and they give excuses such as, well, my English is not so well, I'm brown, I'm black, I have an accent, uh, it's not for me, I'm introverted, I'm shy, and if I get to that next level, it will only add too much to my plate. So a lot of people give these reasons to themselves, but honestly, it's just because they don't know exactly how to work on their how to improve their soft skills. Also, in one of the videos I mentioned, bosses tell you to work on your leadership skills, but they don't tell you exactly what needs to change. And I will put that link to that video under this training, because it's important to understand, if you are looking up to your boss to give you that feedback, and if you don't get that feedback, then you are stuck. So you need to understand the boss might be hesitating to share that information with you. So definitely watch that video once I put the link in there. So so coming back, so what are soft skills? I like to divide soft skills into four parts, and let me actually show you on this pie chart here. So there are four things really that you need to have those soft skills to be effective in the workplace as a leader. So one is self confidence. The next is, actually I did not divide did not divide it correctly, but let me do that here. Okay. The next thing is you need to know how to connect with leaders. So, networking, networking. The next one is communication, but I like to divide it into two parts: verbal and non-verbal. So, the very first part is self confidence. It is so critical. I can't emphasize more on how critical having that self confidence is. And self confidence is needed even for technical skills. If you have, qualifications, if you have dozens of certifications, but you are afraid to apply those skills, or you're afraid to ask questions of your peers to really understand the problem, you wouldn't know how exactly you can apply those technical skills. So self confidence is a must, and self confidence is even more important if you are aspiring to become a leader. When you have self confidence, you are unafraid to say the things that you want to say. You believe in yourself. You believe in your abilities to make an impact, because nobody can give you that. Nobody can give you that. That you have to build yourself. And confidence is in you. Over the years, it has been eclipsed by the society, social conditioning, cultural conditioning, how you are brought up. It gets eclipsed by that. Because if you think about it, every child, every little child, you talk to a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, and you ask them to move a large table. They don't say I can't do it. They just go and push that table. They are not, looking at others to tell me, can I do this, can I not do it? They just do it. That's self confidence. So each one of us is born with self confidence. It's, how our upbringing, how it was, cultural conditioning and social conditioning actually chips at our confidence. It puts shackles around us. So it's very important to understand the root cause of why you're not confident and work on it. In our program, the Unshackled Career Woman, it's for both men and women. We basically dive into what is really holding them back, what limiting beliefs have been created because of how their self confidence was chipped at by all these different conditionings. And then we use a neuroscientific process. There are multiple things that we do in our program. We use meditation, we use stress management techniques, we use uh, emotional freedom techniques where we do tapping. We get to, some memories, from the past, that are holding them back. Because once we help our clients become really confident, it just opens a lot of doors for them. Some of our clients, they realize that, well, I really don't want to go in the C suite. I want to do something on my own. And our clients have become executive coaches working with us. There's one client who is on her way to become a health coach. Another client, she wants to become a lifestyle coach. So once you're confident, you don't feel restricted that I only have one path now to just grow in my career. Once you're confident, you also realize that I'm good where I am. I'm happy. I have the lifestyle that I want for myself now, and I really don't need to, you know, uh, grow in my career. I'm good. And some say that no, 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 no. I want more. This is amazing. I want to keep growing in my career. I want to go in the boardrooms, in the C-suite, and that's also possible. But if you're not confident, if you keep doubting yourself, it is very, very, very problematic, and it affects not only your professional life but also your personal life. So self confidence is really important, and it's in there. You just need some support, some help to really unshackle yourself from all the things that might be holding you back. So that's the first part and very critical part. Um, the thing with self confidence also is that you are able to have conversations with your team members. So, I think about, JFK, one of the presidents of the US, who said, we are going to send a man to the moon, right? Uh, Now, you might feel like, wow, where did that come from? It was not, he just woke up one day and, he said that we'll send a man to the moon. But as a president, he's working close with people at NASA, right? He has a lot of, the intel that he gets from all these, uh, various organizations who are working on these initiatives, right? It is only because, he had that, it was going to be possible. He, made an open statement, and everybody was in, oh wow, that's crazy, can we really do that, can we not do that? uh, when you have that confidence, you are able to make such statements, even if you have, only a little bit of information, but you know that, yeah, if we are able to get this funding, if we are able to get these resources, we can definitely do that. You can make that announcement. But if you're not confident, you are not only going to doubt yourself, but you will also doubt others, and that is really problematic. The next thing, networking, right? Networking is critical. I mean, it's just like self confidence. In fact, everything that I'm going to say here are critical. The most important takeaway I want you to have is that all these things, all these skills can be developed. You were not born with networking skills. Actually, if you think about it, now that I think about it, uh, we are built with networking skills, right? If you see a newborn in the beginning, they really don't understand much, right? All they can understand is the warmth, who's holding them and whatnot. But eventually, they start looking at people around, and they don't give a smile to everyone, right? They connect with a few of them, right? And if that adult is connecting with that baby, the conversation happens without using words, right? So it's not something, networking is not something, skill that is, from an, alien planet. It is there. We know how to network with people. It's just that we need to understand how to connect with senior leaders. That's the only difference, but we are connecting with human beings, right? We are not connecting with aliens, so we don't need a special system, to connect with them. With our abilities, with our human abilities, we can connect with leaders. Why do we connect with leaders? Because we cannot rely on our bosses. Our bosses may or may not be invested in our success. They might themselves be insecure about their abilities, and they might actually sabotage you, or they might not know how to support you, especially because you are brown, because you're South Asian, and all they know is just your technical skills, right? So it's important that you make these connections with various leaders in the organization, so that you are known to them, you are visible to them. I know, a client who was helping the company make $20 million every quarter, but not everybody knows. Not everybody knows. This is something that every top leader should know, that this is what she has been doing with her team. And the thing is that the boss is not going to put emphasis on, oh, it is, Sheila, it's because of her work we are doing it, right? The boss is going to go and say that, my department is able to achieve this for the company. So who gets the credit? The boss gets the credit. So we cannot rely on our bosses. We have to become our own PR person, our own marketing person, and we need to go and connect with leaders and tell them about our accomplishments. Now, if you're doing something like this, if you're making the company $20 million every quarter, and you go and tell them, it's just a matter of fact thing. You're not bragging about yourself. It's just is. A lot of people feel like, well, PR is, I have to go above and beyond and talk about myself, and I am such a humble person. I don't think I can do that. It's nothing like that. It's nothing like that. It's just matter of factly. Whatever you're accomplishing, your leaders need to know. But the very first thing before you can connect with leaders is to, go and talk about your accomplishments, is to start building that relationship, right? It's like, um, you know, it's not gonna be like arranged marriage, right? You go connect with the leader and they are gonna say, oh wow, I'm going to pull you up and make you a leader. It's more like dating, right? You understand them, they understand you, you know their value, they know your value. And as you build this relationship, as you showcase your accomplishments, you are making a space in their head, in their brain real estate. There's a name, let's say Sheila, right? Now they know that Sheila, you know is helping my company make $20 million every quarter. So the name is fit in their head. And as Sheila talks about, hey, these are my aspirations, if a new opportunity comes up, who are they going to think about? Sheila. So it's very important that you build these connections with senior leaders so that they become your cheerleaders and help you get to that next level. The next thing is communication. So, verbal communication and non-verbal communication. Now, out of these two, you want to guess which one is more effective? Non-verbal. Non-verbal. And again, I like to simplify things. When I work with my clients, my goal is to simplify as many things as possible. So, with non-verbal, there are two things that are involved. One is, do you connect with your audience? And then the second thing, how good you are at decision making. Okay. So, the connection part is defined by your linguistic style. And what I mean by that is, it's your style of communication. you know whether you pause, whether you speak fast, whether you tell jokes, whether you do storytelling when you're communicating. Are you being direct or are you being indirect in your conversation? And basically, for people to connect with you, you just have to match their linguistic style. So before you can do that, you need to understand your linguistic style. Do you speak fast? And if the audience does not understand, when people speak fast, you need to just slow it down. Now, you don't have to internally change and become a different person. It's just having that understanding of dynamics and making those changes. The second thing is decision making. One of the biggest reasons why South Asians or immigrants, people who have English as second language, why they are not seen as leaders is because of their hesitation. They take so much time to make decision whether to speak or not. They are ruminating. I don't have all the information. What if I sound stupid? What if people you know don't like my accent? What if I can't think of the right words? I don't have a good vocabulary. So they live in their head instead of just sharing that idea. So while they are ruminating on whether to share or not, someone else shares that idea, and then lo and behold, they get the credit. So you are exhibiting poor decision making if you are not speaking up. Now, again, notice that I didn't say you need to improve your English. It's just understanding your linguistic style and speeding up your decision making process. Now, the decision making process will go down when you have self confidence. when you're not worried about people laughing at you, when you have self acceptance, right? I am who I am, and I accept myself, and I love myself as I am. So when you are in that state of mind, it doesn't matter, right, what your English is, whether you're and you're whether you're brown, whether you're black, it doesn't matter. So that's the non-verbal part. Now the verbal part, even in your verbal, even in verbal communication, it has nothing to do with how good of a vocabulary you have. It really is about, do you take charge of the conversation or not? Because if you cannot take charge of the conversation, then you will not be seen as a leader. What do I mean by taking charge of the conversation? So, whether you are in one on one meetings, whether you are in interviews, whether you are in team meetings, if you are not sharing your ideas, or if you share your ideas and somebody shoots them down, do you actually go and advocate for your idea, or do you just, hide under the table like a scaredy cat? I used to do that. I used to be very scared of sharing my ideas because I would do this. I would get into analysis paralysis, thinking about, oh, I don't have the data, I don't have all the information, this, that, and then, I wouldn't speak up. And if somebody cut me off, then I would beat myself up. I knew it. If I had done all the research, if I had done all the data, I would have been correct. You have to understand, in meetings it's not so much about being correct, because if we focus on just being correct, then we get into that perfectionist mode, and then we terrorize ourselves. I need to be perfect, I need to use the perfect words. And if that doesn't happen, then you are just scared to speak, and you don't speak at all. So when somebody criticizes you, how good are you at taking back control of the conversation and telling them, hey, I want to hear more about you, but I'm not done yet. So let me share the pros and cons of what I'm sharing, and I promise I'll come back to you and I will hear your idea. Somebody takes your idea and they make it their own, and everybody's now looking at them, and saying, oh, wow, John, that was a great idea. Well, how do you take it back? And say that, John, it's great that you are on the same page as I am. And thank you for articulating my ideas so well. So, coming back to my idea, here is how I envision. You just took back your power. So, non-verbal communication is all about being in charge of the communication. The verbal communication is all about taking charge, knowing exactly, if you are presenting and two people are having side conversation, instead of feeling they're not interested in what I have to say, how can you actually go in and facilitate and manage those group dynamics so that people are focused on what you have to say? In verbal communication, again, another important thing is that whatever you say, whatever ideas you bring, they are directly connected to making an impact on the KPIs of the company, the key performance indicator. CEOs and top leaders, they're always talking numbers. There's a reason, because if there are no numbers, right, you cannot just like come up with airy fairy plans and not have any direction of how those ideas are going to uplift the company. How is that going to help the company move the needle in the right direction? The last part, technical skills, yes, they are important, but they're not as important as the others. So with the technical skills, you need to have just enough knowledge so that you can ask the right questions of your team, so that they can start solving the problems instead of you taking that problem and solving it for them. But if you ask the right questions of them and you mentor them and you coach them, you will be able to delegate them all the technical part of it. And all you have to do is think about, be that visionary, give them that direction, how, help them figure out how their work ties into the company KPIs and what are the things that they need to work on, why it's important to manage issues, right? The errors, how does it impact the bottom line if the throughput is longer, if there are quality issues, how it impacts the customer satisfaction. Helping your team know the why and letting them do their job with the directions, not by telling them I told you, asking them questions. What do you think would be a correct approach? Why do you think that would be a better approach? Okay, so what are the next steps? What are you going to apply once you go from here? And what are you expecting would happen? And when can we connect? So, these 5 things are going to help you become an effective leader. You need to have a certain amount of technical skills. You need to have confidence in yourself. You want to know how to network with top leaders, and you need to know the verbal and non-verbal aspects of communication. If you have this, you are golden. You don't need to go to Toastmasters and learn public speaking. You don't need to open thesaurus and improve upon your vocabulary. You don't need all of that. So that's for today. Until next time.